Hey everyone, this is Daniel from Phone Arena with a video comparison between the Nokia Lumia 920 and the Apple iPhone 5. With the Lumia 920, Nokia entered the world of dual-core flagship phones graced with HD displays, where Apple's iPhone and many Androids have been dwelling for a while. Thus, the Finns had to create a very compelling argument, besides those two obligatory features, to fight against the iPhone 5 and said Androids, as they would be its main competition for the hearts and minds of consumers this holiday season. Apple introduced the bravest overhaul to the iPhone so far with the 5th edition, shattering its 3.5-inch screen dogma, and Nokia locked its first 4.5-inch phone with more than one processor cores. So in a sense, both the iPhone 5 and the Lumia 920 are not a simple evolution of what had been before in the iOS and Windows Phone universes. There's no arguing that the iPhone 5 is one of the most compact and premium material smartphones out there, built out of glass and aluminum alloys. Nokia, on the other hand, threw every top feature it was capable of in the Lumia 920, including an optical image stabilization camera, resulting in a both thick and heavy chassis made of polycarbonate in various color choices, and zirconium for the well-situated side keys and the camera plate on the back. This burly impression from the Lumia 920 holds true in comparison with larger screen phones like the top Androids too, not only with the iPhone 5. Actually, Nokia's phone is just an ounce and a half heavier than the previous iPhone, for instance, yet it's the combination of heft and girth that will catch you by surprise given today's smartphone design standards. Still, the tapered back makes the Lumia 920 ergonomic to handle, and its stocky, durable build makes it more suitable for careless owners, whereas the iPhone 5 finds itself in a case very often to escape nicks and scuffs. Just don't expect easy one-handed operation from the Lumia 920, especially with the comparison of the much smaller iPhone 5. We're looking at perhaps the two best mobile LCD displays with the iPhone 5 and the Lumia 920. The iPhone sports a 4-inch in-cell touch panel with 640 by 1136 pixels of resolution, making the pixel density excellent 326 ppi, whereas the Lumia 920 has a 768 by 1280 pixels display with nearly the same density at 332 ppi. Both exhibit very nice images, with the iPhone having almost perfectly calibrated color representation, whereas the Lumia 920 displays slightly more saturation. The screens are very bright, north of 500 nits, which coupled with their very low reflectance ratio makes them easy to see outside even under direct sunlight. Nokia employs its clear black technology to achieve the low reflectance, which makes it seem a tad dimmer, and as if with an extra coating applied compared to the in-cell touch panel of the iPhone 5. Both phones have top-notch viewing angles from all sides, though the Lumia 920 dims slightly more when you tilt it vertically like that. Nokia, on the other hand, has employed Synaptics-based touchscreen, which allows you to use the display with gloves, which comes in very handy in adverse weather conditions. Both iOS and Windows Phone are more restricted compared to Android, but Windows Phone 8 introduces resizable home screen tiles, mass storage mode, and third-party apps lock screen info. Upping the ante against iOS, there is still no unified notification center there in Windows Phone, but the contacts integration with Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn and so on in the People app is second to none, and one of the best Windows Phone features. Windows Phone does many things differently than iOS or Android for that matter, so there is a somewhat steeper learning curve. You have to slide your finger down from the top of the screen to display the carrier signal and Wi-Fi network strength, for example, which are displayed at all times with iOS. Or you have to hold the arrow keys in the music player to fast forward and back, instead of just sliding the progress bar which here does nothing, as you're used to in iOS. Once you've mastered the kinks though, it proves to be a rather fresh and colorful UI approach, which with the uncluttered displays and minimalistic fonts is pretty unobtrusive. Where iOS and Windows Phone 8 are very much alike is with the heavily managed approach to multitasking, for example. If you long press the back key, you see snapshots of your recent apps, and double tapping the home key does the same in iOS. But the phones quickly suspend the apps in memory, then outright kill them once you press the home key, allocating resources according to the workload so you don't have to watch the list, manually jinxing apps and so on. The downside is that you can't just switch back to that calculator used 3 days ago, still languishing in memory with your last equation, like with Android for instance. The app situation is in favor of iOS, whereas you often find that some services you used to don't yet have dedicated apps for Windows Phone. Nokia tries to compensate with exclusive apps, like the free offline voice-guided navigation Drive, or the mixed radio option, which streams Nokia music tunes to your handset for free. With artist info. The iPhone strikes back with its Siri natural language assistant. Weather in New York.
Here's the weather for New York City, New York, the United States through Saturday.
Whereas the Tell Me-based voice recognition of Windows Phone 8 is a bit more limited in nature. Weather in New York.
Searching for weather in New York.
But it still does the job, as you can see, for the basic tasks. A 1.5 GHz dual-core Snapdragon S4 is what we find on the Lumia 920, and a 1.3 GHz dual-core Apple A6 in the iPhone 5. Apple's processor is manually designed by Cupertino, whereas Nokia uses off-the-shelf Qualcomm system on a chip, but both devices are very, very fast, having no trouble navigating their respective interfaces or running any third-party app or game out there. There's 1 GB of RAM in the phones, and as we mentioned before, they manage the multitasking heavily, so you never feel running out of memory. The basic internal storage amount is 16 GB for the iPhone 5 and 32 GB for the Lumia 920, but you can get iPhones with up to 64 GB of internal memory, though it won't be cheap. The browsers are very snappy and fluid, with Safari throwing in extras like this reader mode here, which strips the articles from ads and pictures, leaving only with the text for easy reading. Internet Explorer on the Lumia 920, while very fast, ran into problems with some sites that were having JavaScript, and we couldn't set flight dates on a travel website, for example, something that we could do with Safari. Both handsets support LT radios combined with 42.2 megabits per second HSPA plus basebands, as well as Wi-Fi Bluetooth 4.0 in the case of the iPhone, assisted GPS and DLNA. The Lumia 920 throws in NFC support too. As for the wired connectivity, we have a bone stock microUSB port on Nokia's phone just for charging and syncing, while the iPhone 5 offers its Lightning adapter, which allows you to hook it up to a TV via the respective HDMI adapter. Both music players can categorize your songs by artists' albums, playlists, and even genres, in the case of the Lumia 920. Equalizer presets are not found integrated in the music players on both devices, but are rather listed in settings, which is a nuisance as you have to go there to adjust the sound instead of doing it directly from the player. There's no landscape mode in the Windows Phone 8 player, and you have to long press the arrow keys to fast forward or back on a track, instead of just moving a slider along the progress bar as we're mostly used to. We had stereo speakers at the bottom of the Lumia 920, and the chubby device produces both stronger and fuller output than the iPhone 5. The video players are with pretty basic interfaces too, with the Lumia 920 playing DivX X50 files up to 1080 definition out of the box as this one, whereas you have to use third-party players with the iPhone 5 to play such files. The larger screen on the Nokia is naturally more conducive for watching movies as well. Both phones have 8-megapixel sensors on the back, with the Lumia 920 offering a pulsed dual LED flash and optical image stabilization, as well as a two-stage shutter key. Lumia's camera interface offers more adjustments for the images and videos before shooting and more scene modes, whereas the iPhone 5 mostly decides automatically what to do. It does offer panorama though, which in the Lumia 920 has to be downloaded as a separate option, and Nokia's phone doesn't have the iPhone 5's HDR mode from within the camera interface. Images come out softer and with boosted contrast from the Lumia 920 in comparison with the iPhone 5's pictures, which are more defined. The white balance measurements are sometimes off with Nokia's handset as well, resulting in overexposed or hued bright areas. In low light conditions, however, the Nokia Lumia 920 can soak in quite a bit more photons, as the optically stabilized camera enables it to keep the shutter open longer. In automatic mode, this often results in overexposure of the scene, especially with bright spots and light sources, so you'd better use the night mode or dial down the exposure a notch. The low light shots are, however, much less noisy or blurry than those from the iPhone 5. When it comes to video recording, the Lumia pulls ahead. Not that the iPhone 5 doesn't record nice fluid videos with 30 frames per second, but Nokia's phone adds the advantage of a tripod steady footage even at rock concerts, and its 3 high amplitude microphones pick a lot fuller sound. On one hand, you'd have to sacrifice quite a bit of comfort picking the Lumia 920 before the iPhone 5. It is chunky and hefty, and you might find quite a bit of apps still missing from the Windows Phone store, especially compared to the iOS ecosystem. On the other, the Lumia 920 offers some pretty unique features you can't find not only in the iPhone 5, but on any other handset for that matter. Things like shake-free video recording with outstanding sound, the ability to use the screen with gloves, the free offline voice-guided navigation are not found on the iPhone, so if any of those is important to you, they might tip the scales in Nokia's favor. This was a video comparison between the Nokia Lumia 920 and the Apple iPhone 5 from Phone Arena. For more information about these and other handsets, you can visit us at phonearena.com. Thanks for watching.